House Republicans are zeroing in on what they call a shocking pattern. So, Annie Thomasini, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Annie, yeah.
Former Deputy Chief of Staff to Biden, just pleaded the Fifth during a closed-door deposition, shutting down questions about Biden's cognitive decline, classified documents, and the controversial use of the Autopen. So that makes 3 senior Biden aides taking the Fifth amidst this Autopen probe. All right, Lindy.
Wow, what a story. Can we start, Connor, can we start with a clip of Annie pleading the Fifth?
Good Lord.
Ms. Thomasini, did you ever advise President Biden on the handling of classified documents found in his garage?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
The record will reflect that Ms. Thomasini has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Ms. Thomasini, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question.
Basically repeats this over and over again. And just to
right.
give you some idea of other questions that were asked, questions were like, was Biden cognitively fit? Were you asked to deceive the American people on his behalf? Like questions like that. And they weren't able to provide an answer. None of them were. And let me explain the 2 other people who also pled the Fifth. That would be Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the same doctor who went to the American people and said, Joe Biden is somehow capable of running this country until he was 86 years old.
Yeah, he's a real dynamo.
Exactly. He's running circles, but just behind closed doors. You never see it, but believe me, he's a genius behind closed doors.
You have to laugh or you'll cry.
He's a Mensa genius, and my source is trust me, bro. That's number 1. And number 2 is Anthony Bernal, who's basically Jill Biden's work husband, who, by the way, has had a bunch of sexual harassment allegations. We can get into that on a later date. Exactly.
Maybe he's on the list.
There's so much. But Anthony Bernal was basically running the East Wing, which is the First Lady's domain. He followed her everywhere. He was such a loyalist. And so was Annie Thomasini, who was the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. She's worked with Biden for decades. She's been with him for years. So the one credential that all of them is intense loyalty to the Biden family.
Yeah.
I'm going to mispronounce the Italian word, but it's like omerta.
Oh, the omerta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, say that again, Jillian.
That was very good.
Very, very good. Fucking Sicilian Italian lunatic.
Right.
It's like a blood oath, the omerta.
Exactly.
It's like amongst the mafia, yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that this Kevin O'Connor dude, who also pled the Fifth, was working with James Biden on a defunct hospital network here in Florida. So he isn't just the family doctor. He is a family member. All of them have deep ties with the Biden family. So I'm not surprised that they decided to, again, essentially lie through silence, lie through omission to the American people. The one person who didn't plead the Fifth was a woman named Neera Tanden, who was a top White House official. Intensely,
she's very combative.
Exactly,
yeah.
Is on CNN all the time right now, using her newfound, peddling that into fame. And she admitted to using the Autopen, which I think is fascinating. They're not even lying about that anymore.
Explain what the Autopen is for people who might not know.
So there's a controversy around the usage of the Autopen, which allows essentially anyone to sign documents on behalf of Biden. And so you could essentially, there were 1,000 pardons. And the theory is that Biden isn't cognizant of everyone that he pardoned.
Right.
In fact, someone did an analysis of his signature, and Peter Doocy from Fox News also picked this up. There was only 1 document that Biden actually signed in terms of pardons. And guess which one that was for?
Hunter.
That was for Hunter
Yeah.
Biden. The same pardon, that pardon, by the way, was highly unusual in that it was more all-encompassing than the one for Watergate and Nixon.
It covered Hunter for like a very
10
long
years.
period of time, yes.
Covered his years working for Burisma. He made millions of dollars each year for essentially being the vice president's son. That's all he really did. Yeah. It was an influence peddling game taken to the extreme. Can we show the clip of James Comer basically encapsulating what happened?
Well, unfortunately, that was quick. This is the second witness that we've brought in via subpoena for a deposition that has pled the Fifth, and they've stated they're not going to answer questions. I want to read the first 2 questions. just so everyone knows, these are the types of questions we ask. Was Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president? He pled the fifth. Second question, did any unelected official or family member execute the duties of the presidency? And this is Joe Biden's chief of staff. Did any unelected officials or family members ever execute the duties of the presidency? Simple question. He knew he was going to be asked that. Everybody in America wants to know that. He pled the fifth.
That's perfect. Thank
So,
you, Conor.
we're
And
gonna
by the
continue-
way, I'm not going to plead the fifth. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is Hunter Biden was in on White House meetings. Not a single doubt. He totally was. And not only that, he was in on donor calls because I was on them.
Wow.
I don't know why a family member was on our donor calls.
Wow.
It's highly inappropriate.
A crackhead
And
family member?
why is he making decisions, and why was he out there reaching out to donors, top-level donors who are raising millions of dollars? Not only that, he would be at all the events sitting in the front row like he was the Prince of America.
Right.
Like, what gives you the right? Everyone saw your dick on camera. Why are you walking around?
I didn't, thank goodness.
Like,
I
why
didn't
are you
either.
walking around?
I avoided. I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Why are you walking around like you own the country? It was
crap fight photo.
extremely unfortunate. It just, you know,
I think I have a
desecration.
problem with that, especially because, look, I actually had a problem with what Trump did in his first term in basically having his kids serve in the administration. Like, I saw that as bad. Like, that's not good. It's nepotism. But at least you knew what their titles were and what role they were serving within the administration. In regard to Hunter Biden, I didn't know about how involved he was with the Biden administration. That wasn't disclosed to the American people at all.
He even got people fired. Anita Dunn had the gumption to say you should probably, to tell Biden, she said you should probably put some distance between yourself and your convicted felon of a son. And after that, she was gone in July 2024. Anita Dunn was one of his longest serving, and she was gone because Hunter Biden was pissed off.
I wanted to ask you a question. So these aides who are all pleading the fifth right now, if they were to say, no, he didn't have the intellectual capability, he was cognitively declining, yes, he did use the Autopen, and I as an aide was complicit in that, are there any repercussions for the aides?
Oh, that's
Well,
a good
I
question.
think, you know, if Republicans are smart, they would probably, you know, someone should offer them immunity.
Yeah.
And so they can tell the truth.
Right. So typically there would be, though. There would be, for them being complicit in that, there would be
If there were a criminal
punishment.
investigation, there would be immunity for testimony.
Right.
But this is, I'm not sure if, I don't think James Comer offered that to anybody. And by the way, I don't actually think that this was some sort of like operation to divert attention from Epstein, because this is going on for a long time. Like this investigation to the Autopen, this predated Epstein. But I do think it's interesting that the investigation this week has like really escalated.
Did you ever see that interview with Mike Johnson to Barry Weiss? I actually just pulled it up because I didn't want to get it wrong. And he talks about how he couldn't get this meeting with the president. And he's like, I'm third in line to the presidency. I need to see the president of the United States. So they called him in because they wanted to get his sign off on another funding package to Ukraine. So he finally gets Biden alone. And I would send the video, but I mean, I'll just keep it tight here. You can look it up if you want to. He's sitting with Barry Weiss for the Free Press. And he says to Biden, can I ask you a question? I can't answer this to my constituents in Louisiana, Johnson recalls telling Biden. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? And I'll tell you what that is in a minute. Liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine, you understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him now because he paused those exports, right? So Biden, according to Johnson, was stunned and said, I didn't do that. Biden said, Johnson responds, Mr. President, you did. It was an executive order like 3 weeks ago. Biden continued to deny that he paused the liquid natural gas exports. At that point, Johnson suggested that the president ask the president's secretary to print out the executive order so the two could read it together. Biden then recalled he signed an executive order, but it was only for a study on the effects of liquid natural gas. And Johnson was firm. Sir, you paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. Long story short, Biden had no
idea.
friggin' idea.
You know, something like that. God, government is so corrupt.
Zippo.
So that's crazy. The Autopen thing, is it even legal to do that?
It is legal.
That's crazy. Well, how is that legal?
Goes back
because if there's so many, right? If there's like so many things for him to sign, like that will take a long time.
I know, but I mean, wouldn't you have to at least advise with the president?
And
I
would imagine
I take the fifth part is they claiming they did.
Okay.
Guys,
but hold on, I got to bring up an example that happened
you
fairly
next, Amy, on the
recently.
phone?
Okay.
So there had been a pause on weapons shipments to Ukraine. Now put your feelings or whatever you think about sending weapons to Ukraine aside for a second and just think about the fact that Trump was asked about it. Trump was asked about it during a press conference, and he's like, I didn't do that. He's like, he found out about it for the first time. And then Trump immediately lifted that pause and sent the weapons. But I think that's a problem when you have
acting behind, the president's back.
I think that's an issue. I think that's an issue.
Do you think that's plausible deniability on Hegseth, though? Like, I kind of wonder about that. Like, plausible deniability on Bondi, plausible deniability on Hegseth.
That's a really good point.
Not a plausible deniability on
You mean like using them as scapegoats?
Yes.
Maybe that's a possibility
my
too.
theory,
Who knows?
you can like or dislike Trump's policies, but in my mind, there's no doubt who's in charge here. The guy's in charge, from my point of view.
I believe that so much until this Epstein thing. I want to hope and pray that that's the case, the dismantle the deep state.
There's also something
Every
else I
part
want
of
to
me
say.
wants to believe that's true.
Yeah,
so I do
honey,
want to agree with you, but
I know where your heart is. I really do.
Globalists-
And there's something that I really
globalists are
want
the
you
ones
guys
who are
to
in
know
charge.
too.
It does feel
Just
like
this
that.
week, Hunter Biden broke his silence for the first time since election to say that he still believes that his father would have won had the Democrats not abandoned him. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And he also said, I was very annoyed. First of all, just please, the Bidens need to go away. They're continuing to do damage to like the Democratic Party, which is already like rock bottom when it comes to their approval rating. But he also said that he was upset that Democratic voters weren't loyal to his father. And I need politicians to understand this. I'm going to look right into the camera, okay? I don't know if any of them would ever watch this, but if they do, we are not your public servants. You are our public servants.
You serve us. We're the boss.
So, like, this idea that we need to be loyal to any political figure is disgusting to me. That is not the sign of a healthy democracy.
Amen. Could not agree more. And it's so hilarious to me that Biden is continually going out there, giving interviews, trying to show everyone that he's not in cognitive decline. And literally everything he says demonstrates just how much he is in precipitous cognitive decline.
Yep.
He needs to stop going on The View, stop going interviews, and just go back to Rehoboth Beach and just relax and read books. Because precisely he's doing so much damage, not only to himself, but to essentially the country and his party. The party that he purports to love so much. He needs to shut his trap and just retire.
I can't wait to be in my 80s. So I don't have to be in the public eye, and I don't have to wear makeup, and I can like enjoy my life. Like the obsession with power.
Taco Bell.
Yes, eat Taco
It's
Bell.
already over,
It's
right?
so
you know, like
good.
you're at the end, and like that's all I'm waiting for.
Me too. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
like
I'm probably still going to be working out.
the long-term goal of a fitness trainer. Like,
That is what I am waiting for. Is when it's like I'm dying anyway. Taco Bell. You know, I
It
can't
is
figure-
delicious, right?
Oh God.
It is delicious.
Oh my God, as an ex-fat kid, I miss it so much. Thank you so much for watching Her Take. If you like the show, can you help us out by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification button, sharing, commenting, joining the conversation? It helps us out a ton with the algorithm. We appreciate you.